Is anxiety more prevalent in the West? So according to this article, they say that one might expect that mental illness tends to be more common in the areas of the U.S. that have lower socioeconomic status, that anxiety might also be prevalent in countries with lower socioeconomic profile. However, they found that that was not the case. So if we go down a little bit more in the article, it breaks down low-income countries, 1.6%. Sorry, this is for general anxiety disorder. So low income, 1.6%, middle income countries, 2.8%, and high income countries, 5%. So what this is saying, that at least in terms of countries, that we have higher levels of general anxiety, the better or the higher income you have. Now, this is something that I'm going to actually talk about, and I think the article does go and talk a little bit about this later, but I'm going to jump ahead and sort of base my assumptions sort of on this. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I'm just going to pull up the pyramid right here. For those who don't know what Maslow's hierarchy of needs are, it's pretty simple. It talks about the hierarchy of humans' needs. So it's like a pyramid, like a triangle. So at the bottom, it's physiological needs. Sorry, let me just open this up so I can see it a little bit better. See, this is uncut. We're going right off the whim. We're just rolling with the punches. Okay, shit, where'd it go? There it is. There we go. Okay, so as I said, yeah, physiological needs at the bottom of our pyramid. They're our base of our pyramid. They support us. Without these physiological needs, we die. That includes food, water, warmth, rest. If you don't have food, you die. No water, you die. You get it. So it's a basic need. And then the one just after is security needs, safety needs, which is security and safety. So those are our basic needs. If we have food, if we have water, warmth, rest, and we're safe, we will survive. That's, and that's sort of where most humans sort of reached. This is where most people sort of stayed in for the history of human existence. Most people never got to the point where they had things. It was a constant struggle. They had to always make sure that they were fighting for food, clean water. At least in the West, we generally have all the food and water and the warmth we could ever need. You go down to the grocery store and you can get food. It might not be the most healthiest food, but you will be able to find food. Feed yourself for less than probably $10, or you can go to the dollar menu at McDonald's, and like I said, it's not the highest quality of food, but you will not starve. Clean water. You turn on your tap, there's clean water, unless you're in somewhere like Flint, Michigan. Look it up if you have no idea what I'm talking about. But most places in the West has an abundance of clean water. And then safety. Homes. You might not own your home. You might not even be able to get a mortgage, but most people, at least they can rent, or they live. Millennials, they're living with their family, their parents for forever. But at least they have a home. They're not on the streets. So that is the point where people struggled. There was no social security. There was none of that. You worked, and if you didn't work, you died. And even if you worked super, super hard, you sometimes still died because shit was just so tough. So anyway, the point is, this is the first time in human existence where most of us, at least in the Western countries, have these 2 points. Now, if we go back to the next one, the next top one, so we go up the pyramid. So we started at the bottom. Now we're on our way up. So belongingness and love needs. This is intimate relationships and friends. This is a psychological need. Again, people, I'm sure they had friends and they had spouses and they loved each other, but that was not important. Not as important as feeding yourself. Now, we look for love. We marry for love. We choose who we marry. Again, back in the day, a lot of the times were arranged marriages, and in some countries today there still are arranged marriages. I realize that, but in the West, it's predominantly you marry who you want, or you don't marry who you want. Marriage was a strategy. There was a reason behind a marriage, and it was because it was good for the family, yada, yada, yada. And then friends, we all have friends. We need friends. I think friendship is one of the most underappreciated and undervalued things that humans do. If you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, there's a specific reason you're with them, right? And fundamentally, it's for sex. It's to reproduce. But friendship, nothing's like that. Nothing's expected. You are spending your time. You are giving them your finite time, and it's because you honestly enjoy their company, and that's kind of a beautiful thing. If we go to the next one, esteem needs, prestige and feeling of accomplishment. So these are all psychological things. You sort of see what I'm getting at. It hasn't been until probably the last 100 years for most people, and really even the last 15 to 20 years, that these psychological needs have sort of been pushed, and that we are safe. We have our needs, our basic needs met. Now we're sort of breaking out, and we're like, now what, right? Like, am I happy? What's my purpose? I want to fall in love. People fall in love. My friends, they're important. And then you get into your esteem, your prestige and feeling of accomplishment. Well, I've got a good job and I'm able to feed myself, but is it my passion? Is it what I want to do for the rest of my life? Is this where I belong? And that's sort of where that whole psychological, why are we here thing, people become a little bit more in tune with themselves. Where back in the day, they're like, I don't really give two shits if I'm a blacksmith, but I am able to feed my family, and at the end of the day, everyone's alive and my children aren't dead. So that was what's important. But now we've got the first two needs met, and now we're sort of getting into the point where, we're starting to think we're getting too much into our own minds. And I think that's sort of where that stems, where that anxiety comes from. And also there's a lot of propaganda. You got to just follow your heart, and everybody thinks everybody's happy. There's a message that your job is supposed to be your passion, and if you're not happy at your job, then you're wasting your life. Whereas that's not what a job is for. I don't think you should want to hang yourself every time you go to work, but it's not going to be fun. Work is not fun. Work is work, and it's no matter how long. You can have the best job in the world. You can have you can be a professional beer tester, or you can be a dog trainer, somebody that eats food professionally, whatever. Eventually, everything gets old. So eventually, everything gets boring. Artists, actors, acting, being in movies is probably one of the best jobs in this world. They're handsomely paid if you're famous. And yeah, I'm sure it's not as easy as we assume, but you're not on an oil rig. You're not underground mining coal. You're not wiping somebody's butt or ass like a lot of healthcare workers do. And you're not getting shot at. You're not a cop. You're not jumping into a burning building. It's pretty safe. But they are sometimes some of the most messed up people. Actors, they get into drugs, and it's because they have everything. They have everything, and now they're looking, the lower needs, the middle parts of the pyramid are not met. Actually, so we haven't even finished the pyramid. Let's go to the last part. Self-actualization. And this is self-fulfillment needs. Achieving one's full potential, including creative activities. And this is where the actors get into play. They have literally everything. They can buy themselves the fanciest food, the fanciest cars, houses. They can go on vacations, and they're still not happy. And why is that? It's because they have to accomplish. There's creativity. it's like they're stuck in a bubble that they just can't get out, and they don't know how to get out. Yeah, so that's where that sort of stems from, I think, anyway. And I think a big part of anxiety has to do with that. People feel anxious because we're so we have our basic needs met. Now we're in our psychological stage where we're like, we get inside our own minds, we overthink things, we're constantly on edge. Again, there's other things in society that have contributed to this, I think, anyway. But this is a huge factor, that we have everything we need fundamentally. And it's just, we're in a transitioning stage as a species. We need to grow, and we don't know how to grow, and we're pioneers. We are true pioneers in this human experience. So maybe anxiety is a normal thing. Maybe it's healthy. Maybe it's just finding a way how to deal with it.